Perfect. And then, hello, Luis. If you'd like to
Hello.
introduce yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is Luis Salazar, and I am currently the school counselor here at Sunkist Elementary. I've been at Sunkist for approximately 12 years. And before that, I was a high school counselor. Uh, I did high school counseling for about, I would say about a year. And then I was transferred over to elementary and just discovered that having worked with students from now age 4 all the way to age 18, this is the critical moment in a child's life where you will set the foundation to help them become who they want to become, how to problem solve, how to advocate for themselves, how to interact with the world. So, really love elementary school because I see the need and I see how this foundation, the skills you learn at this level, do go with you for the rest of your life.
Thank you for that introduction. Yes, 100%. These skills are really going to
Mhm.
be carrying with them throughout their life, and you get to be a big part of that. So one of my questions just to start us off is, how did you start using Thrively? What was your intention behind it?
Okay. So originally, Thrively was introduced by Mr. Salama from the district office. When I first came to elementary school, I was using a program called Second Step that I had heard about in the previous elementary school that I was at. For maybe 3, 4 months, I was there. And like I said, when I went from high school counseling to elementary counseling, I really didn't know where to start. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where anything. So I went to San Diego and I spent the day with a counselor who was with, I believe she still is with NEU system, the No Excuse University system. And she introduced to me Second Step. And we used it for a few years and it was there. I mean, we used it. Great program, everything was good. But Mr. Salama, when he came to our district, and I never saw it this way because I was never a teacher before. Um, that was more of teaching behaviors in the classroom. It didn't really focus on social emotional learning. Um, It focused more on the classroom management type of instruction. And when he introduced it to the district and I started looking into the program, what I realized was that Thrively, in the 12 years I've been at this school, is the first SEL program that truly addresses the self to understand oneself and how those skills become transferable to other areas of our lives. So, for example, um, I had a classroom that I was having difficulty with behaviors, first graders. And what I did was I introduced Thrively to the teachers. But I spoke with that teacher in particular. I said, look, let's look at the Thrively and let's look at what you want to see in the classroom and let's work backwards. Because you really don't want to be reminding students again, again, and again to do whatever it is you want them to do. You want that self regulation to come from within. Because ultimately, that's what we want. And when I saw that Thrively through the programs, through the lessons, through the different chapters, just themes everything from character development to strengths to self-esteem, just to problem solving. It addressed many of the things that the tools that we want every child to know and take with them. Because if I misbehave as a child in a classroom, I don't have the regulation skills to monitor my behavior, identify it, and do something different. So if I don't have that skill in the classroom, more than likely I am not going to have that skill at home, in the playground, on the way to lunch, in the lunch line, in the cafeteria. It's just not going to happen. So when I saw that Thrively really addressed that need, and I call it in counseling, it's the internal working model. It's the way we see ourselves, it's the way we see others, and ultimately, how do we interact with the world? And those skills will go with you for the rest of your life. And it was like magic. Um, all of a sudden, I'm not getting the phone calls anymore. I would walk into the classroom to support students who needed additional support. And I would see that those students were focused, they were paying attention. And I was like, wow, where did this come from? And those students were the same ones who now, when they went to lunch, they were in a straight line. When they were in the cafeteria, they listened to the campus monitors or whoever was there and followed directions. So I go, hmm, okay. And she used Thrively because I would walk into the classroom and I would see the students engaged in their laptops, in the lessons, and I go, oh, that's what's happening. So I saw a major, major change in the classroom. And these are first grade students. This is early child development. I mean, and now those students are better learners because, I mean, I was never a teacher, but I have heard it's very difficult to teach someone any kind of academics when their behaviors are not supporting that academic environment or, focusing, sitting down, paying attention, collaborating. All those are behaviors. And Thrively does an awesome job at addressing those behaviors before they become an issue. So it's preventative. It teaches you the skills to learn to self-regulate. And that's the best part is it addresses psychology, counseling, the internal working model of, okay, I'm upset today. That's okay. It's an emotion. We will be upset now, forever. But what do we do? Do we have the skill to one, identify our emotions, two, to label them, and three, to find an alternative way of behaving, still getting our needs met, voicing how we feel without disturbing the classroom. So Thrively does an awesome job at doing all of that. I wish I would have had Thrively when I first became elementary counselor because it would have just made my job career just smoother.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And you kind of touched on this. Can you talk about just overall how it, has impacted the overall school culture? And then I'm hoping you can touch a little bit on, just relationships between students and teachers as well.
Oh, absolutely. So we have office referral forms that teachers have that we created in the beginning of the year. We talked about minor behaviors, infractions that maybe could be handled in the classroom. We talked about major behaviors that need further support for myself or the principal. And I cannot remember when the last time a teacher referred a student with a referral. And it was a major behavior. I can't remember. And I remember in past years having two big, giant, three ring binders with the alphabet inside of them to keep track of all of the referrals I was getting. And now they're just collecting dust. There's nothing in them. So just things like that. And what I've noticed too is it's actually shed more light on the students who do need additional support. So whereas before, maybe, I don't know, make up a number, maybe 20 students were not following directions. Well, it's only one of me. Where do I go with 20 students? Because of Thrively, now maybe only one, maybe two, if that. So it's definitely helped me support the students who need additional support. So Thrively is making it easier for me, for the teachers, for the school in general, for themselves. I mean, I go into the playground and I just watch the students. And you can feel the energy. You can just feel things. They're happy, they're calm, they're running around, they're playing, they're laughing. I don't feel the tension anymore. Like, interesting. So it's definitely changed the school culture. And, unfortunately, a lot of times you hear this with, with adults or with everything. If I do the correct thing for 9 times, um, no one says anything. But if I don't do it for one time, oh, you will let me know. So that right there in itself, I mean, the language that teachers use, it's more of a positive. It's what did you do right? Not so much as what did you do wrong? Because what I did right gives me a pathway to improve myself. What I did wrong is a brick wall to remind me I failed. Now, what do I do with that? So I just listen to adults the way they speak on just everyday language, not a script, not something to say, just it becomes part of you. And when you come from that, positive way, strength-based approach, we all want to do well. We all want to succeed. And it's changed the language of many, many people.
That's awesome. That's awesome that it's really putting strengths into the forefront. Um, connecting back to strengths-based education, do you feel like students are more aware of their self-identity, their strengths? If you ask them, what are your strengths, do you feel like they would be able to respond?
A lot of them, yes. But what I have noticed is that I seldom get this response. I don't know. I don't get that I don't know as much anymore. I get something. Now, a lot of students, just across the board, because of age development, need help identifying their emotions, their needs. That's just for everybody. What Riley has done is help them put words and start from there. Maybe a student before, when they would get upset, I can think of one student before. Um, just sit there, shut down, not say anything. Now that same student, um, I'm upset, I'm angry because this happened to me. I didn't like the way that happened. Now, I may not know how to go from there, and that's where I come in. But at least I have you voicing and advocating to yourself. And that was a big thing I started seeing with Thriving, is more students now are advocating for themselves. They speak up. They say, no, this isn't right. I want to be treated in this way. These are my feelings. These are my emotions. These are my needs. And not saying they're better than yours. They're saying these are mine and I need support or I need you to respect them because they are important, just like yours are important. And just to see that happen with kids, because kids don't have the verbiage, the word development to say that. They just don't. But I see it in their behaviors. And if you pay close attention to a child, all behavior is communication with a child. All behavior. They can't sit there and tell us what's really going on, but they can behave in a way that they're telling us either this is happening or that's happening. It's up to us to kind of look at those behaviors, see patterns, and go, oh, I think something's going on here. So I see their behaviors change.
That's amazing. Um, do you feel like, are you taking behaviors and then utilizing the lessons to meet those needs? Or did you start out kind of planning with set lessons that you wanted within the classroom?
So what I did, I wanted to do a couple of things. And like I said, I wasn't a classroom teacher, but been here about 12 years and I can see the things that are important in the classroom. For example, procedures. Having students understand classroom procedures to optimize the learning in the classroom. So then, okay, so what do you want to see? I want them to pay attention. Okay, so let's find a lesson in Thrively that talks about how to do that, how to develop that skill, how to sit, focus, and pay attention. And when I get distracted, how do I refocus with myself, not having the teacher tell me? But also at the same time, I know that a calm child learns best. It's brain development. It's just the way the brain is structured. If my emotions are not calm, collect, I feel stressed, I feel scared, I am not going to learn, not going to learn whatsoever. So it's kind of a balance. I want the child to be emotionally okay, but at the same time, have the skills to use that calmness, to use that strength from, okay, we sit in class, we pay attention. When someone's speaking to us, we look at the person who is talking to us. Our hands and feet are to ourselves. Our voices are quiet because when our voices are quiet, our little ears, wow, they open up. So I'm balancing two different things. And that's what I like about Thrively. It addresses another. Nothing else is problem solving. That's in Thrively. How to problem solve effectively where you use your words, not your hands. Not pushing, not use your words. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you did help made me feel. Because a child who is empathetic to someone else's emotions, understand them, must first understand themselves and understand that, look, if I do this to this child, they're going to feel this way. I don't want to feel that way. That doesn't feel good. So why would I want to make someone else feel bad when I don't want to feel bad? That processing, that way of looking at things, you're not born with it. That's a skill you have to be taught. And you have to be taught at a child level. And Thrively does that. Because I've looked through the lessons. It's K through 5. The K lesson in responsibility does not look like the fifth grade lesson in responsibility. It's different language, but it's the same message. I want you to be responsible for your behavior. At the same time, you're responsible and have control of your own success. Therefore, you determine through hard work how successful you become. That's empowering. So I can help a kinder have that, but it has to be at a kinder level. A fifth grader, I'm not going to apply the same techniques as a kinder because I think we're just playing. So you have to have a balance, and Thrively does that. Whether it's character development, whether it's understanding yourself, whether it's problem solving, they go to different levels. And that's what I enjoy about it. That in counseling, one theory does not fit all. Can't. We're all different people. We have to, you know, apply those techniques for what the person gives us. So Thrively does that. Kinder, here's your lessons for these kind of things. TK, second grade, fifth grade. Oh, okay. Because developmentally, a fifth grader is going to have different questions, different doubts that a kinder will. So I wouldn't apply the same technique with the kinder that with the fifth grader. I'm doing that child a disservice. Just like I want to speak to an adult the same way I speak to an elementary student. I would be insulting their intelligence. So yeah, no, Thrively's done very, very good in that department.
Well, I'm glad it sounds like, there's been a good growth too of,
Mhm.
going from kinder to first and so on. So they're constantly growing and, while the lessons aren't going to be repetitive, which is good, we want them to consistently have that modeled for them. So that's wonderful. Um,
Absolutely.
can you share a meaningful moment or story that stands out just with any of your students that you've utilized Thrively with, anything you are working on specifically with them?
There's one student in particular. She has the Thrively lessons. And the one thing that I really, really I'm seeing from her is um, she comes to me now on a daily basis. Thrively has helped break down that wall that she had from coming to me. And the thing she's coming to me require additional support. But she would have never come to me in the past because she didn't, because it was that wall preventing her from coming to me. What that wall was, I don't know. But I do know because I just see results, I see behaviors that ever since in her classroom, she started using Thrively. So I don't even know what lessons she used. I just know that she's using lessons. Now I assign certain lessons. So I'm like just guessing here. Little self-esteem, little self-worth, little character development. Because I've assigned those lessons. So I know it has to be one of those three. There's many lessons. Ever since she started using those lessons in the classroom, I've noticed now she comes to me every day. This is how I feel. This is what's going on. Today she came to me. She said, I want to talk to you, but I want to talk to you tomorrow so I can tell you everything about how I feel because I want to feel better. Perfect. So it's made my job a whole lot better because some students may need more support than Thrively or any other program can provide. Sometimes there's a need to refer out to another outside mental health agency. Everybody's needs are different. But in her case, it seems to me like Thrively has helped break down that wall where now she can ask for what she really needs. And before she was in my office or I would hear complaints about her behaving a certain way to other students. That's been erased. How that happened, I don't know. Coincidence? Probably not.
Well, it's amazing that you've become her go-to person, that it's broken down that wall for you and given her the dialogue to go, no, I want to feel better, as you said. So,
Yeah, and she wants to. It's her needs. I want these needs to be met. I don't want to be this way.
mm,
Help me become better. Just to, one, look at yourself and understand that I don't like this. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. I want something more. And I deserve it. I deserve better because I'm worth it. That is huge. The child will never put it in those words. They will never say that, but their behaviors will tell me everything.
yeah, bigger the behavior, the bigger the feelings, right?
Yeah, I mean, all behaviors communication.
Mhm.
All of it is.
Yeah.
And the kinder who behaves a certain way, good, bad, or indifferent, is telling me something. The fifth grader who behaves a certain way is telling me something. The 45-year-old who behaves a certain way is telling me something. What are you telling me?
All right. I did want to ask one more question. Just
Mhm.
has this come up with families or, staff commenting on just the difference that they're seeing in using Thrively with the students?
Mhm. I've had a couple of teachers tell me that they don't they don't know why, but the class is just calmer. I've heard that word a lot. The kids are just calmer. I go, okay. And I mean, teaching is very difficult. There's it's almost like every minute needs to be accounted for. So I get it. So a lot of times in the past, the resistance I would get to any social emotional learning program, um, pamphlets, aids, whatever it was more work, more work. And I think what they're starting to see is that 5 minutes, 5 minutes of applying a Thrively lesson, hearing the skills in the lesson, whether it's positive strokes, whether it's congratulating, whether it's saying good job for doing X, Y, and Z, language that wasn't really there before, that is there now. And I heard one teacher, I forgot what she said, but my first thought was, oh, wait a minute. You didn't talk like that. You learned that or saw that somewhere else. I think I know where you saw it from, but I don't want to say it, of course. Um, so I think with the teachers, they won't outwardly say it's thrively. They'll just behave that way. So they're happier, they're calmer. You see them being more chatty in the lunchroom. I go, I wonder what this is. I told one of the teachers, um, her students, awesome line. And I didn't, I looked at the line. I said, where's the teacher? She was back in her classroom. She was watching them. The students walked to the cafeteria on their own perfectly. And I mentioned that to our principal. I said, did you notice so-and-so's class? They weren't like that before. She goes, I did notice that. Self-regulation. What does Thrively do? Self-regulation. Teaches skills to do what you're expected to do, even though no one's looking. But like my student who comes to me every day, she's starting to realize, when I behave a certain way, when I do things a certain way, I feel better. I want to keep feeling that way. And your brain does this, it associates things very quickly. Also, hold on a minute. So every time I do one of my lessons in my computer, I feel this way. Well, the brain says, you like that feeling? You want it again? There it is. Without even you consciously saying, oh yeah, this is what happened. They just react. So it's helped a lot, a lot. And with the teachers as well. They won't outwardly say it, but I can see, again, the behavior. Because, as I said before, with anything in life, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me. Even I do it. I can tell you whatever I want to tell you, good, bad, or indifferent. But my behavior will speak very loudly. So that's what I look for with anything. Did it change? You could tell me it didn't change, but if I see that it did, I go, uh-huh. Or you could tell me it did change, but did it really change? So it goes both ways. So I see it in the behaviors, not so much in the words.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's incredible what you're doing. And I just applaud you because every time we talk, I feel all inspired when we leave our conversations. And I really appreciate, the impact you're making on campus and how you're really putting students' needs for first and constantly looking for the behaviors, what they're communicating. I think
Mm-hmm.
such a power in that, and having that a presence on campus is huge.
Yeah.
You're making an impact.
Oh, thank you. I do what I can.
Well, you're amazing. Okay, well, I'll pause the recording here.